थोड़ा ध्यान हो जाए। अरे आधा ना बोलोगे। Good afternoon, students. In the previous class, we have discussed electric motor and working of an electric motor. So, electric motor means it is a device, it converts electric energy into a mechanical energy. Now, in this class, we will learn Faraday's experiments and Faraday's law of electromagnetic experiments. Electromagnetic induction. Scientist Faraday discovered the electricity by the magnetism. Previous to this, scientist Oersted discovered magnetism by the electricity. After that, scientist Faraday thought there is a symmetry. There are many things are symmetry in the world. If there is a magnetism by the electricity, why not there is an electricity by the magnetism? Like that, he thought and conducted the experiments. And finally, he succeeded. And finally, he discovered the electricity by the magnetism. Now let's see what are the experiments conducted by the Faraday in this class. Now let's see here. So here there is a coil having a 5 turns, and one end of the coil is connected to the one end of the galvanometer, and the other end of the coil is connected to the other end of the galvanometer. Now let's see here, in this coil, in this entire coil, there is no any source, like there is no any battery, there is no any driving force. So here is a galvanometer which is used to detect the electricity. Okay, now let's see here. Now let's take a Bohr magnet. Okay, so it is a Bohr magnet. So it is a north pole and it is a south pole. When we move a Bohr magnet, north pole of a Bohr magnet towards the coil, we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. That means when we move the north pole of a magnet towards the coil, there are deflections in the galvanometer, means there is a current flowing in the circuit. Though there is no any driving force in this, there is a flow of current. And this flow of current is because of moving the north pole of a magnet towards the coil. Now, keep the magnet at rest at this position. So here we don't observe any deflections in the coil. Now move the magnet towards the coil, we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. Now keep the north pole of a magnet constant at rest here. Okay. Further also, if you keep the magnet at a rest at this position, then also we cannot observe any deflections in the galvanometer. We can observe the deflections in the galvanometer when we move the north pole of a magnet towards the coil or away from the coil. When we take the north pole of a magnet away from the coil, then we observe the deflections in a galvanometer in the opposite direction. Now reverse the poles of a magnet. Now move the south pole of a magnet towards the coil. Then we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer reverse to previous case. Now move the south pole of a magnet away from the coil, then also we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer in the reverse direction to the previous case. That means whenever we move north pole of a magnet, whenever we move any pole of a magnet towards the coil or else away from the coil, then we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. That means then only the current is flowing in the circuit. Suppose now keep the magnet constant. Keep the magnet constant here. Now move the coil away from the north pole of a magnet. Then also we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. And move the coil towards the north pole of a magnet. Then also we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. So from this we can say that whenever the coil and the bar magnet are in relative motion, then there is a flow of current in the circuit. Then the current is inducing in the circuit. So this is the first experiment conducted by the scientist Faraday. Now let us see the another experiment. So here in the place of a bar magnet, he took that is a coil having a battery. So already we know that a coil through which a current flows acts as a bar magnet having two poles, north pole and a south pole. So here in the place of a bar magnet, scientist Faraday took that is a coil, okay, through which current is flowing. Now let's see here. Here is a coil. Two ends of this coil are connected to the two terminals of a battery, and here there is one more coil. In this there is no any source of electricity. Here there is only galvanometer. Now when we keep both these coils together like that, in this current flows, even though in this current flows we can't observe any deflections in the galvanometer in this coil. Now you move this coil towards it or away from it, then we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. That means when we move the coil through which a current is flowing towards the coil or else away from the coil, we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. But when we keep these two at rest position, we can't observe any deflections in the galvanometer. Now keep this coil at a rest and move this coil towards it or away from it. Then also we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. Further, he conducted one more experiment. This is the third experiment. In this, there is one coil having a galvanometer. In this, there is no any source of electricity. So here is another coil. It is connected to the battery, and here there is a switch. Now, so here in the third experiment, he didn't move any coil. In this, you just close the when we just close this switch, what happens? Current flows in this. Immediately we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. Further as the current flows in this, we can't observe. Whenever we close this switch, immediately we can observe. Further, as long as current flows in the coil, we can't observe any deflections in this galvanometer. Now, open this switch, then immediately we can observe the deflections in the coil. That means whenever we on or half the switch, we can observe the deflections in the galvanometer. Now let's see here. Here the third experiment. Here these two coils are not in the relative motion, but still we are observing there are deflections in the galvanometer, though there is no any source of electricity in this. Okay. So with these three experiments, he concluded. So he discovered the reason for the inducing current in a coil even if there is no any source. So what is that a region means? So here actually the relative motion is not the exact region. By that relative motion, let's see what is happening here. Okay, see, whenever we move the magnet towards the coil or away from the coil, let's see here what happening. So from the north pole of a magnet, magnetic field lines comes off. Okay, so here what happens when we move the north pole of a magnet towards the coil, then more and more number of magnetic field lines passes through this surface area of the coil. When we move the north pole of a magnet away from the coil, then what happens? The number of magnetic field lines passing to the surface of the coil decreases. That means here, when the coil and the magnet are in the relative motion, what is happening? The number of magnetic field lines passing to the surface of the coil are changing. That means already we know magnetic flux of phi is equals to BA cos theta. So here A, area of the surface of the coil is a constant, theta is also constant. Here what changing? Due to the relative motion of a coil and a magnet, the number of magnetic field lines passing through a coil changing. That means magnetic field lines are changing. Magnetic field lines are changing means magnetic flux is changing. Okay, this is the exact reason for the induced current in the coil even if there is no any source of the electricity. That means magnetic flux is changing through a coil. So here also, okay, as the current flows through this coil, it produces the magnetic field. The same magnetic field lines passes through this coil also. When we move this coil, the magnetic field lines passes through this coil. As we move away this coil, the number of magnetic field lines passing through this decreases. That means the number of magnetic field lines increases or decreases. With the increase or decrease of magnetic field lines passing through this coil, what happening? There is a change in the flux through this coil. So here also, whenever we on or close the circuit, the number of magnetic field lines passing through the coil increasing and decreasing. That means flux through this coil is increasing and decreasing. So because of this change of magnetic flux, okay, the current is inducing in the coil even if there is no any source of electricity. Suppose here, if we move a magnet fastly towards the coil, then you can observe the fast deflections in the galvanometer. Similarly, when we move fastly away from north pole of a magnet fastly away from the coil, we can observe the deflections are fastly in the opposite direction. That means the deflections are fastly means because of more current is flowing. Means the magnet moving fastly or slowly means that explains the change of magnetic flux through a coil with respect to time. The change of magnetic flux through a coil with respect to time. When we move a magnet fastly towards the coil, the change of magnetic flux through this coil takes place in a lesser time. When we move a magnet slowly towards the coil, then the change of magnetic flux takes place in a more time. That's why lesser current induces. That means that is the more change in flux in a lesser time is the rate of change of magnetic flux is more. That means for the inducing current in the coil, even if there is no source, the reason is the rate of change of magnetic flux through that coil. That means the rate of change of magnetic flux induces the electric current. If there is an electric current, there is a EMF, driving force. Okay, so this is the reason for the generation of electric current, for the inducing electric current, inducing a EMF in the coil even if there is no any source. And the scientist of Faraday, okay, derived an expression, okay, for the induced EMF. According to him, the induced EMF in a coil is directly proportional to or is equals to the rate of change of magnetic flux. The rate of change of a magnetic flux. Suppose if the change in magnetic flux through a coil in delta t time is delta phi suffix b, then the induced EMF E is equals to delta phi suffix b by delta t. Delta phi suffix b by delta t. E is equals to delta phi suffix b by delta t. This is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. That means, according to Faraday, the electromagnetic induction is the induced EMF is directly proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux through a coil. Or else, the induced EMF in a coil is equals to the rate of change of magnetic flux through a coil. This is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. And here, in this expression, we can put a negative sign. We can put a negative sign, and we can explain this negative sign according to Lenz's law. Suppose here, if there are n turns in a coil, then induced EMF E is equals to minus n into delta phi suffix b by delta t. This is a Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. E is equals to minus n delta phi suffix b by delta t. Here n is a number of turns in a coil. So this is about three experiments of Faraday's and Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. In the next class we will discuss about Lenz's law. Okay, thank you.